Hey, it's me Bullet, the one and only, back with some power scaling. Today I will be power scaling Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen, who I think is massively underrated. If this isn't the first video you've seen of mine, you should consider subscribing. Jujutsu Kaisen is a series about death, emotion, and choice. Cursed spirits, also referred to simply as curses, are a race of spiritual beings manifested from cursed energy as a result of negative emotions that flow out of humans. They bring harm to humanity, therefore are primary targets of Jujutsu sorcerers. These people who use conceptual-based power, called cursed energy, to exercise curses. Cursed energy is manifested from negative emotional events and powered by the image of memories and feelings. Hence, negative events can strengthen a character's cursed energy and resolve. Our protagonist, Yuji Itadori, doesn't fear death, but is rather sad. Sad that his grandfather died. Left with a request to fulfill his grandfather's wish to help others, he must consume Sukuna's fingers and be killed to save the world. Sukuna is the king of curses, and his fingers are like cursed objects that are indestructible, a being that if not stopped will destroy the world as we know it. Unfortunately for Yuji, his fate is sealed, so for the time he does have left, he wishes to live without regret. Now weirdly enough, Yuji is 5'8" and weighs about 80 kg as a 15-year-old. This is really weird because he has a very low fat percentage, below 10%. Take me for example, I'm like 5'10", so yeah, technically 1 inch shorter than 6, and I weigh about 77 kg, and I'm like 5 years older than Yuji, as well as being pretty lean. Not trying to boast or anything. So it's very abnormal for Yuji to be of that proportion, if I'm being honest. Moving into Yuji's power scaling, and before I start I would like to credit Cursed Valor for doing some of the research and helping me with the scaling. So we know very early on Yuji was capable of running 50 meters in 3 seconds, which is like a superhuman speed feat, implying that he can run at speeds of about 60.12 kilometers per hour. He is also capable of physically denting goalposts, so he's pretty powerful, despite not really knowing about the Jujutsu world, literally having no connections prior to the Shibuya incident. Yuji learns to use cursed energy from his sensei Gojo. Most of the Jujutsu world want Yuji killed for being a dangerous threat, although Gojo believes that he can defeat Sukuna, so allows Yuji to eat all of his fingers and destroy the king of curses, Sukuna, once and for all. Yuji makes a binding seal with the Sukuna. They decide to share his body together. Very early on, Yuji is kind of established by Gojo to have potential that could surpass him. Yuji is also capable of containing Sukuna without any ill effects. He is actually weaker than Gojo, and even Jogo notably, even if he is possessed with Sukuna, at this stage anyway. When Yuji is possessed by Sukuna, he is capable of contending with grade 1 and special grade curses. In fact, Sukuna can actually, with 0 difficulty, destroy special grades this early on even. Special curses require rapid cockpit bombing to defeat at a bare minimum. So these cluster bombs can easily destroy like a city block, so he's about that powerful. Later on, Yuji learns Divergent Fist. It's a punch that is equal to 2 normal punches, and the reason for this is because his cursed energy is delayed, so it comes slightly after the original blow is landed. This also implies that Yuji's cursed energy is equal to his physical stats. Yuji in his base form is established to be about 20% stronger than the average sorcerer, and has like this poison resistance, since Yuji is like the host of Sukuna, who is like the king of poisons. Yuji will feel the pain from the poison, but he's mostly unaffected. This ability was first demonstrated versus Junpei, where he resisted the Moon Dreg's poison. This moves us on to the Mahito arc, where Yuji is comparable to Kento Nanami, who is a grade 1 sorcerer. This enables him to harm Mahito, who has control over the shape of his soul. He's even capable of manipulating the shape and form of other souls, something that Yuji can resist because of Sukuna, despite this version of Sukuna being technically weaker than somebody like Jogo, who in his domain expansion can create mountains of iron, which is calculated like an island level feat. His soul and his presence is too powerful for it to be manipulated by Mahito. This moves us on to the Kyoto Goodwill event arc, where all of the students of Kyoto fight each other, but some of them are tasked to kill Yuji. Yuji is actually stated stronger physically than Aoi, who is actually stated to be capable of fighting special grades, placing Yuji at like city block level, which is pretty consistent I think, since Aoi is actually stronger than Ultimate Mekamaru, and Ultimate Mekamaru's ultimate cannon kind of erases this portion of a forest, and this is calculated like a city block level attack as well, roughly around 5.1 times 10 to the power of 10 joules. Around this time, people start talking about their speed, since Mekamaru's same attack is also stated to be like his light, but that doesn't mean it's like light speed. Most attacks in fiction produce light, as kind of like calling Naruto's Rasengan light speed for being like a ball of light is really weird. And also another thing that I found that a few people might start using is this statement from the official Twitter page of the English Jujutsu Kaisen, in which they state that Nobara is running at the speed of light. I don't think it's meant to be taken seriously. I think it's a little bit comedic, since even if you look at the image, it's her running really angry. And also it's really difficult to prove that this page has more authority than the author, since it's not like there's equal ownership or anything. All rights belong to the author, whose identity is like shrouded in mystery. If we're talking about speed, I think the fairest way to scale them at this point is through Maki. We know that Maki is capable of blitzing bullets. This is like a high hypersonic speed feat if you're using the anime version of the actual feat, which I think should be fair to use. Maki goes on to fight this person called Hanami, and Hanami seems to be easily keeping up with Maki. Later on we see Aoi and Yuji fight Hanami, and they can keep up, so at this point Yuji should be high hypersonic too. Now during this fight, Yuji and Hanami are like matched, until Yuji pulls out something called the Black Flash, which is an extremely powerful and complex technique that's even difficult for special grade sorcerers to use and master. People who can use the Black Flash are worlds apart from people who can't, so it's a very important technique. It's actually like a random thing that happens when you're lucky. If you're able to apply your cursed energy in like a microsecond, like perfectly on the dot, then you become capable of distorting space. There are two drawbacks to this technique and also one massive advantage. The first drawback being that you have to apply it in a microsecond, which would mean you need like lightning speed reactions. It would exactly have to be lightning speed, meaning if you're fighting a character faster than like lightning speed, if you're constantly trying to use this ability, then there's a good chance you're going to get outsped, so it's dangerous to use. The second drawback being it's like spinning a slot machine every time you punch. You'll eventually get like 777, but most of the time you're just going to be losing money. In this case, you're going to be losing like a lot of cursed energy, which is required to use this very high level technique, so it should be used by people who have a lot of cursed energy, I suppose. Yuji does have a lot of cursed energy, but at the same time he's really lucky. During a fight, he's sure to at least pull off like a few of them. Now the biggest advantage to the Black Flash is that instead of like a multiplier, it's like a power exponent increase. For people who don't know what exponents are, in mathematics, an exponent is a number or sign that shows how many times another number is to be multiplied by itself. So this is absolutely ridiculous, since the Black Flash gives you like an exponent of 2.5. So you're basically multiplying the character's power by itself 2.5 times. So this is a calculation I decided to do myself. We know that he's superior to Ultimate Mechamaru's Ultimate Cannon, as we established earlier. And we know that produces roughly around 5.1 times 10 to the power of 10 joules, which is enough to destroy basically a city block. So now we use an exponent of 2.5. So is this to the power of 2.5, which gets us a result of 5.9 times 10 to the power of 26 joules, which is ridiculous, since this is enough energy to destroy multiple continents. So Yuji's Black Flashes are like multi-continental. So at this point, Yuji's normal stats are like high hypersonic, so faster than bullets casually. Lightning speed when it comes to reactions. He's strong enough to destroy like city blocks. And with his Black Flashes, he has power comparable to destroying multiple continents. So now we can move on to the Shibuya incident arc. Yuji fights Mahito again. Mahito has clearly got far stronger than he was last time. So strong that Mahito is actually capable of tanking Yuji's Black Flash, meaning that his body is durable enough to take like multi-continental attacks. But he's only just about taking them. He's like on the verge of like literally being killed, and this is in his base form. It does kind of make sense because like Yuji's normal attacks can't harm him, whereas like his Black Flash can. He then gets like this 200% increase in power when he goes into his final form. So a 200% increase is like a 2 times increase. It's clearly not enough to stop the Black Flash from like harming him. Luckily for Mahito, Geto comes in and saves him. So he stated that 4 of Yuji's Black Flashes would have actually been tanked by the cursed spirit Jogo, whereas the 5th one would actually kill him completely. So the fact that Gojo could also tank this would make him like multi-continental in like durability. Jogo feeds Yuji until he now possesses 15 fingers, and then gets possessed by Sukuna. Sukuna destroys Jogo, smashes him through buildings, slapping him about, making him bleed, harming him. Sukuna beats down Jogo so hard that he makes him question his own strength. It's a complete curb stomp, meaning that 15 Fingers Sukuna is multi-continental in pure strength. Moving us on to our next arc, the Itori Extermination Arc. It gets pretty mental from here, since this guy called Yuta is pursuing our protagonist, Yuji, and is tasked to actually kill him. So he chases him through the city, and it's established that Yuta is stronger than Gojo via his cursed energy, which is the most immense and immeasurable Geto has ever sensed. Yuta is even compared to Gojo, and states directly that he has cursed energy beyond Gojo, and Gojo is meant to be like the strongest sorcerer. So this doesn't mean Yuta would beat Gojo in the fight. It seems that Yuta may be physically stronger than Gojo, whereas Gojo is still in that tier of power, yet beats somebody like Yuta via his hacks and his stamina, since apparently that's what Yuta fears the most about his sensei. Very impressively, 15-finger based Yuji is like relative to Yuta, since he matches his attacks and his sword strikes, which are like amped by cursed energy, and very surprisingly breaks his sword, meaning he should at least be relative to Yuta, perhaps not as strong as Rika. So Yuta is like confident that he could have taken out a 15-finger possessed Yuji, making like base 15-finger Yuji roughly like multi-continental. So we know at this stage, just to like conclude, Yuji is like multi-continental in like physical power, and also multi-continental when Sukuna takes over his body. I would assume like Sukuna is slightly stronger when he possesses his body, since he has like better like control over the flow of his cursed energy, but they should be in the same range. So he should be high hypersonic in speed, probably even faster than that, massively hypersonic now, so like lightning speed, since there's lots of characters that could blitz Maki that Yuji scales to, and in reactions he should be roughly the same speed when using the Black Flash, so he's pretty consistent. So how strong would the new Black Flash be? How strong would it be if current Yuji used Black Flash? Well, this is very simple to calculate once again. So we know that he scales to characters who are multi-continental, and we'll use the result we got last time, so that was roughly 5.9 times 10 to the power of 26 joules. So we use an exponent of 2.5 for the Black Flash. So we do this to the power of 2.5. And this gets us like a mind-boggling result, 8.4 times 10 to the power of 66 joules. So in his base, he goes from multi-continent level to, I kid you not, wait for it, multi-galaxy level. I told you these exponents were massive increases. It's absolutely insane. So of course, like, Black Flash doesn't scale to his normal stats. It's more like a technique that is random and lucky, but that should kind of conclude Yuji's power. Not that it matters, since Sukuna provides Yuji with his domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, that's meant to be on a completely different level to all other domain expansions. He's even capable of like erasing other people completely, so has this like hacks. If I'm being honest, I don't think the author fully understands how powerful the Black Flash actually makes his characters. If you don't like using the Black Flash increase, then I suppose ignore it, and then their power would just scale to another guy called Dagon, and Dagon is capable of creating like islands with his domain expansion, and domain expansions is just you like applying your cursed energy to create things. This doesn't really apply to Jogo. He's able to create like infinite information rather. So hopefully this concludes everything, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, even consider subscribing, possibly becoming like a member or donating to me. Regardless, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.